I actually don't feel like it's inevitable at all. I actually believe that we are on the verge, if we don't crack this nut soon, of missing an opportunity that may not exist again in human history. We have the technology now. We have the wealth on the planet. We have the desire to go. We have almost everything we need to make a human migration into near-Earth orbit and into space possible. What we don't have are financial mechanisms that can do that. And I really seriously fear if the financial mechanisms don't step up to the plate so we can start doing this, any one of a number of world events could supersede our planet's ability to move into space. We really are at a golden time now. We're at a time when the wealth on the planet exists, the technology, the will, and the scientists and engineers exist to do this on a grand scale. We can't let a government do it again.
I think you mentioned Richard Branson earlier.
Richard Branson. Right now, there are a lot of private dollars in private space. Richard Branson has put in 30 to 50 million, I guess. Elon Musk has put in $100 million in space explorations. As I understand, Robert Bigelow has committed nearly $1 billion personal dollars to create his inflatable space hotel. What's that fellow down in New Mexico? I can't think of his name. Another $100 million.
Burton?
No, he's down in Burt-Rutan's down in Mojave. But Burt-Rutan's technology is not expandable into orbital technology. It's a suborbital technology. It's like a porpoise jumping out of the water and falling back in. Doesn't count in any significant way. It does help, perhaps, to validate that there is a space tourism market. But I can tell you that even Branson's success in pre-selling tickets will not move a venture capitalist to fund a $100 million orbital rocket program. I actually think that some of the larger financial consortiums are going to have to come together at some kind of a summit and say, let's do it, gentlemen. Men and women who have the financial wherewithal that will see the rewards and be willing to take the plunge for the hundreds of millions of dollars it will take. We can't place our bet on any one nation or company. So we have to place multiple bets, and it is a slam dunk that some of those will fail. And the suggestion that we need to place multiple $100+ million bets in order to put infrastructure in place will not sing well with any financial officer anywhere in the world that I'm aware of. But that's really what has to happen. I don't see another alternative. The government can fund a mission to Mars. It will not put commerce in space. The Russians may sell rocket rides for $10 million a pop, but it will not put humankind into orbit accessing the resources of space. What has to happen is private enterprise has to either by decision of the wealthy or by the invention of new financial mechanisms create a way for the money to flow into private space industry. And several $100 million bets are going to be lost, and many lives are going to be lost losing that money. And right now we don't have, the entire world's economy is not set up to deal with that class of risk, those kinds of time frames. There are no mechanisms, institutions. It's not there. We're not prepared for private investment in space as a society, as far as I can tell. Now, I've heard financial people say our instruments, our financial mechanisms are up to it. It's a matter of willpower. But that's not even it. The venture capital firms would love to jump in if there was a mechanism for them to mitigate their risk. But there isn't a mechanism, and the suggestion that they cooperate is met with the same horror on the financial people's face as if I had uttered a blasphemy. Because cooperating in the financial, in the high-risk venture circles is not the rule of the day. And I could talk till I was blue in the face, and it's not going to change that opinion. So I don't know what the correct solution. I know what has to happen, but how to get from here to there, I don't know that. I don't know how to change people's minds. I don't know how to get people to cooperate when the risk is overwhelming and the reward is ill-defined. Somebody's got to be a true believer. Well, I bring up the venture capital because that's the riskiest money out there. And the first point I made about it was not that it was a good source, but that currently, space technology and transportation development is going to exceed the riskiest money we have available in our society. Obviously, other funding mechanisms would be superior. Obviously, friendly money is better than hostile money, and so on and so forth. But if the most liberal model we have now won't do it, Dave, let me ask the other question. If I had a space company and I could validate the technology for you to your satisfaction, I had a killer management team like you helping us out, and you had the money to
already lose out when you mention that.
would you invest your money? And the answer I already know is probably not, because there are too many risks. It's not just technology. In fact, my view is that the risks are so inherently greater than a terrestrial business proposition that it probably can't be justified on any of the same criteria as a terrestrial proposition. If we're going to go into space, it has to be not because the economic returns can be shown, because I don't believe we're in a position to show that economic returns are ever on the horizon. It has to be done on the basis that this is the next step in human migration off planet, and it's worth it whatever it costs. Had Queen Elizabeth done a cost-benefit ratio on Christopher Columbus boats, we wouldn't be living here now.
Queen Isabella.
Well, the Spanish Queen. Forgive me. The point is, this is something that has to be done not on the basis of a sound business proposition. It has to be done because this is our, in my view, our human destiny. I agree with Robert Heinlein. Most of the history of human race will be written after we leave this planet and become a spacefaring people. And if the requirement is we have to write a business plan that's competitive with terrestrial business plans, then David, we're probably not going to go. But I do pray that we have people that can have a little bit more vision than to constrain their dollar investments to a competitive investment based on terrestrial insurance company models.
See, I think we'll go. I think it'll be incrementally very, very slow. I think there'll be many, many casualties along the way. And I think there will be a slow evolutionary history of building on the shoulders of those who have failed until you ultimately come up with commercial successful models in industries with drivers that work. And there's a reason why it's hard and it's costly and it's challenging to get out of Earth's gravity well, because it is all of those things. And pie in the sky stuff doesn't cool it, but we need the pie in the sky people to go out there and pave the way for those who will come later. Because in my opinion, we need success built on effort and failure. And you just hope that you're not the one that fails, but we need the people to be out there and fail to lead the way for those that will ultimately be successful.
That scenario may very well come true. And in fact, if I were going to be a betting man, I'd say that's the most likely scenario. But if that's true, it's going to be 10 generations before we have an industrial scale space station. And it may be significantly more if political events take a turn for the worse on this planet. On the other hand, that's not the way huge migrations have occurred in the past. They've been explosive events where in a generation, whole new continents were populated.